Okay, number 14. 52% of you got this correct, which I thought was really pretty good considering this is the hardest problem in the whole test, in my opinion. Because this is the one example where we really have to use law of cosines. So in this case, it just asks, in triangle ABC, what is x? Or what is little a, right? Side BC. So in this case, I'm going to relabel this. This is B, capital B over here, sorry. On that vertex, that means this is little c. This means this is little b. And then I'm going to write out my law of cosines. So recall that the law of cosines is that a side squared is equal to blah, 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 blah. In this case, we're going to use a squared. Because then we're going to use vertex a in the rest of the equation. And then those will be the 3 known piece of information and then the 1 missing that we can solve for. So a squared is equal to the other 2 sides squared and added together. So b squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c times the cosine of angle A. Okay, I just copied that straight out of the book. Or most of you guys, after just doing it 2 or 3 times, started to get this memorized. So we know of these 4 variables, we know 3 of them. A is our missing one, little a here. So I'm going to keep a squared by itself is equal to b squared. Well, b is 4. I'm just going to write it in. 4 squared plus c, which is 5. Squared minus 2 times 4 times 5 times the cosine of angle A, which is 130. Cool. Now I can simplify it a little bit. A squared equals 16 plus 25 minus 2 times 4 times 5, which is, oh, I don't know, some number 40, times the cosine of 130. Cool. 16 plus 25, I can simplify that even further. That's 41, right? And if I do this right, this part of the problem should be pretty similar to this part of the problem. If you recall, I can't do 41 minus 40. Well, why not? Because the 40 is being multiplied by this cosine thing. Remember PEMDAS or whatever? When we multiply a thing, we can't do, 2 minus 1x and say, oh, well, that's 2 minus 1 is 1, and then it's 1x. No. This x term is a separate term from this constant term here. Similarly, this cosine of 130 term you can think of as a separate term as this constant here. Doesn't mean we can't evaluate it, but we just have to make sure we do it in the right order. So in this case, we can simply evaluate this using our calculator. So 41 minus 40 times the cosine of 130. We can go over here to Mr. Calculator and do 41 minus, I'm going to put a parentheses here so I can remember to keep track, 40 times the cosine of 130. 40 times the cosine of 130. Was that the right number? Yeah, 40 times the cosine of 130. So what is 41 minus this thing? Well, it's 66.71. And then if a squared equals 66.71, how do I get a by itself? Well, a is equal to the square root of 66.71. So I'm simply going to take the square root of that answer, and I get 8.16777, which rounds to the nearest tenth of a centimeter to this guy here. Cool. Well done to everyone who was able to do that. I was pretty impressed with that. Good job.